In the heart of a bustling marketplace, a lonely German shepherd sat tied to a post, his once proud frame now marked by neglect and sadness. His tired eyes wandered over the crowds, unnoticed by all, except for one. Among the sea of faces, 5-year-old Emily's gaze froze on the forlorn creature. "Mom, look at him," she whispered, her small voice trembling with compassion. "He looks so sad. We have to help him." It was a bright Saturday morning, and Emily had been wandering the market with her parents, Victoria and John. The vibrant colors and sounds seemed distant now as her focus remained solely on the dog. The German shepherd was tethered tightly to a corner post, ignored by the world. Emily's mother, Victoria, followed her daughter's gaze. She saw it too, the pain in the dog's eyes, the silent plea for kindness. Victoria knelt down beside Emily. "All right, sweetie," she said gently, "we can check on him, but stay close to me." As they approached, Emily crouched a few feet away, speaking softly. "Hello, boy. It's okay. I won't hurt you." She stretched out her tiny hand. The dog sniffed the air cautiously, his ears twitching slightly. Victoria watched intently. Emily had always shown a unique connection to animals, almost like they could sense her kind heart. But this dog, he seemed particularly fragile. "Emily, be careful," Victoria warned, her voice low. "He might be scared." Emily nodded but stayed focused on the dog. "You're safe now," she whispered, inching closer. The dog didn't pull away, his deep brown eyes meeting hers, filled with a glimmer of hope. Nearby, a man stood at a stall, serving customers. Emily guessed he might be the owner. Summoning courage, she stood and approached him. "Excuse me, sir," she said. "Is that your dog?" The man barely looked up. "Him? He's worthless," he said with a shrug. "No one wants him. He just takes up space." Emily's heart ached at his words. "Can I pet him?" she asked softly. The man shrugged, as if he didn't care. Emily returned to the dog, kneeling beside him. Slowly, she reached out and placed a hand on his matted fur. To her amazement, he didn't flinch. Instead, he leaned into her touch, his tail wagging ever so slightly. A small smile spread across Emily's face. In the weeks that followed, Emily and the dog, whom she named Thor, began forming an unbreakable bond. Every time her family visited the market, Thor's eyes lit up the moment he saw her. He would wag his tail, his joy evident. Emily's parents noticed her growing attachment and began to consider adopting Thor. They knew it wouldn't be easy. He needed medical attention and lots of care. But they couldn't deny Emily's determination to give him a better life. After much discussion, they approached the seller with an offer to buy him. The man, eager to be rid of what he called a useless dog, agreed without hesitation. Emily's heart leapt with joy as she freed Thor from his chain. "You're coming home with us," she whispered as she led him to the car. On the ride home, Thor rested his head on Emily's lap, a silent gesture of trust and gratitude. Emily stroked his fur gently, her heart swelling with love. Little did she know, this moment was the start of an incredible journey for her family. A journey of healing, love, and the unshakable bond between a girl and her dog. The joy of bringing Thor home was overwhelming at first. Emily's heart swelled with happiness, and her parents felt a sense of pride in giving the neglected dog a second chance. But it didn't take long for the challenges to surface. Thor's ribs were visible through his thin coat, and his frightened eyes revealed the hardships he had endured. He was nervous in his new environment, startling at sudden movements and loud noises. He cowered when adults tried to pet him, and on more than one occasion he peed in fear. His scars were not just physical, they ran deep into his soul. Despite this, Emily never left his side. She spent hours sitting next to him, reading him stories or sharing details about her day. Her gentle presence seemed to calm him in ways no one else could. Over time, Thor began to trust her. He leaned his head against her tiny hand when she stroked his fur, and soon, he started following her around the house like a shadow. But his progress was uneven. At times, his reactions were unpredictable. Seeking to help him heal, the family turned to an expert, Dr. Lewis Taylor, a renowned animal behavior specialist. Dr. Taylor observed Thor carefully during a visit to their home. "This dog has endured unimaginable trauma," he said. "His fear-driven behavior stems from his past experiences. He needs a stable environment, patience, and consistent training to rebuild his sense of security." He provided the family with a training plan focused on positive reinforcement and gradual exposure to new experiences. The training was slow and required immense patience. Some days, Thor made great strides, responding to commands and even playing fetch with Emily. But there were setbacks too. Loud noises or sudden movements would send him into a panic, and he would whirl or cower. However, he was always gentle with Emily, never showing aggression towards her. One day, while playing in the yard, Thor approached Emily with a ball in his mouth, his tail wagging like a joyful propeller. It was the first time he had initiated play. Emily's face lit up with excitement. "Good boy, Thor!" she exclaimed, throwing the ball for him to chase. From the veranda, Victoria and John watched the scene unfold. They knew the journey to Thor's recovery was far from over, but their hearts filled with hope. Their commitment to Thor was beginning to pay off. As months passed, Thor's behavior steadily improved. Emily's endless patience and unconditional love helped him heal. One sunny afternoon, Emily laughed as Thor chased a ball across the yard, his tail wagging with newfound joy. From the veranda, her parents sipped iced tea, marveling at how far Thor had come. Suddenly, the peaceful scene shattered. A loud noise startled the neighbor's cat, which darted across the yard in panic. Thor, driven by instinct, bolted after it. Emily called out to him, but he didn't stop. Without thinking, she ran after him, her small legs struggling to keep up. She didn't see the speeding car until it was too late. Victoria and John's hearts sank as they watched their daughter run into danger. They shouted, but their voices were drowned out by the car's engine. In that critical moment, Thor's protective instincts kicked in. He saw the car before Emily did and rushed toward her at lightning speed. With a powerful leap, he knocked her out of the vehicle's path just in time. The car screeched to a halt, the driver visibly shaken. Victoria and John ran to Emily, finding her shaken but unharmed. She clung to Thor, who stood over her protectively, licking her face as if to reassure her. From that moment on, Thor's place in the family was cemented, not just as a rescue dog, but as a loyal protector and cherished member of their family. One day, during a walk, Thor's demeanor suddenly changed. His body tensed, and he began to growl softly. Emily looked up and saw a familiar figure approaching. It was the man who had once owned Thor, the man who had neglected him. "So, you ended up here," the man said coldly, his eyes narrowing at the dog. Emily tightened her grip on Thor's leash, feeling his tension through the lead. "Thor is my dog now," she said firmly, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "And you can't take him back." The man sneered, "I'll call the authorities." "You stole him from me." Emily took a deep breath. "We have proof of how you treated him," she said, her voice unwavering. "You'll never get him back." The man muttered something under his breath before turning and walking away. Emily knelt beside Thor, wrapping her arms around him. "It's okay," she whispered. "He'll never hurt you again." The encounter shook Emily, but it also strengthened her resolve. She promised to protect Thor no matter what. When she shared the incident with her parents, they assured her they would do everything in their power to keep Thor safe. The local community buzzed with excitement over the upcoming pet fair and dog exhibition. Emily's family decided to participate, eager to showcase Thor's progress and spend a joyful day together. The fairgrounds were alive with activity, vendors selling pet supplies, booths offering treats and information about animal care, and dogs of all shapes and sizes mingling with their owners. Laughter and the playful barks of excited dogs filled the air. Emily was thrilled, her face lighting up as she took in the vibrant atmosphere. She was also curious about how Thor would react to this new environment. As they strolled through the fair, a booth caught Emily's attention. It showcased dogs performing agility feats, weaving through poles, leaping over hurdles, and darting through tunnels. Her eyes sparkled with excitement. "Mom, can we try that?" she asked eagerly. Victoria smiled. Of course, sweetheart. They approached the booth, where a friendly trainer greeted them warmly. Would you like to see if your dog has a hidden talent? The trainer asked, gesturing toward the agility course. Emily nodded excitedly, her heart racing with anticipation. The trainer led her and Thor to the starting line. Let's start with a few simple exercises and see how he does, he suggested. Emily knelt beside Thor, whispering to him, Are you ready, boy? Thor's ears perked up, and his tail wagged enthusiastically, as if to say, Yes, I'm ready. When Emily gave the signal, Thor shot forward with remarkable agility and determination. He soared over the hurdles, navigated the poles with precision, and zipped through the tunnels as though he had been training for years. The crowd watched in awe, their cheers growing louder with each flawless move. By the time Thor crossed the finish line, they erupted into applause. Emily beamed with pride. She had always known Thor was special, but seeing him shine on the agility course exceeded her wildest dreams. News of Thor's talent spread quickly. People who had once dismissed him as just a rescue dog now saw him as a star. Offers poured in from trainers and agility clubs eager to help Thor develop his abilities further. Emily and her family began attending a local agility club, where Thor quickly became a favorite among the trainers. But their newfound joy was soon overshadowed by a dark development. Thor's former owner, emboldened by the dog's success, began making threats. He appeared at the park during training sessions, shouting that Thor still belonged to him. He's my dog, and I'll get him back no matter what, he yelled one afternoon, drawing concerned looks from other parkgoers. Emily's parents grew increasingly worried about her and Thor's safety. Determined to protect their family, they sought the help of Miss Patterson, a lawyer specializing in animal rights. You have a strong case, Miss Patterson assured them. We need to gather as much evidence as possible to show the court how Thor was mistreated and how much he has thrived under your care. Victoria and John began compiling everything they had: photos of Thor's emaciated frame when they first brought him home, veterinary reports detailing his health improvements, and testimonials from neighbors, friends, and trainers who had witnessed Thor's transformation. Emily wanted to contribute too. She wrote a heartfelt letter describing her bond with Thor and how he had changed her life. Thor is my best friend, she wrote with deep sincerity. He saved my life, and I love him with all my heart. Please don't let anyone take him away from me. The legal process was grueling, and the upcoming court hearing weighed heavily on Emily, but she refused to give up. In the meantime, Thor continued training for an upcoming agility competition, a chance to show not only his talent but also how far he had come in his new life. Every time Emily saw the former owner lurking near the park, her heart raced. But she found strength in her love for Thor and her determination to protect him. On the day of the competition, the park was alive with excitement. Dozens of dogs and their owners had gathered, each team ready to compete. Emily and Thor entered the grounds, their nerves steady but their resolve strong. As they waited for their turn, Emily spotted the former owner standing at the edge of the field, his gaze dark and threatening. Her palms grew sweaty, but she took a deep breath. We can do this, Thor, she whispered, stroking his head, just like we practiced. When the announcer called their names, Emily and Thor stepped forward, their determination palpable. The crowd fell silent, the tension in the air thick as everyone watched the young girl and her dog approach the starting line. Emily gave Thor the signal, and with a burst of energy, he charged onto the agility course. He soared over hurdles with grace, wove through the poles with precision, and sped through tunnels like a blur. Every step he took exuded strength and determination, captivating the crowd. When Thor crossed the finish line, the audience erupted into applause. Emily ran to him, wrapping her arms around his neck. His tail wagged furiously, and his eyes sparkled with joy. As Emily beamed with pride, one of the judges, a renowned dog trainer, approached her. You two are an incredible team, he said warmly. Thor is extraordinary, and your dedication to him is remarkable. But even as the celebration filled Emily's heart, the looming court hearing cast a shadow over the moment. On the day of the hearing, Emily clutched Thor's leash tightly as they entered the courtroom. The former owner was already there, muttering under his breath, his eyes fixed on Thor. Ms. Patterson, the family's lawyer, confidently presented their case. She displayed photos of Thor's condition when Emily's family rescued him. His matted fur, protruding ribs, and lifeless eyes. She shared veterinary reports documenting his recovery and glowing testimonials from neighbors, trainers, and friends who had witnessed Thor's transformation. Emily's letter was the emotional cornerstone of the case. "Thor is my best friend," she had written with heartfelt sincerity. "He saved my life, and I love him with all my heart. Please don't let anyone take him away." The judge listened intently, then turned to the former owner. "The evidence shows clear neglect and abuse under your care," he said sternly. "Thor has not only recovered but thrived under this family's care. It is in his best interest to remain with them." Despite the former owner's protests, the judge's decision was final. "This court finds you unfit to care for this dog," the judge concluded. "Thor will remain with Emily and her family permanently." The family's relief and joy were immeasurable. But the story didn't end there. The judge ordered an investigation into the man's treatment of other animals, uncovering shocking truths. Witnesses came forward, revealing a pattern of abuse. Dogs beaten, starved, and kept in deplorable conditions. The revelations ignited outrage across the community. The story spread through local news, inspiring neighbors, friends, and even strangers to rally for change. Donations poured into animal shelters, and efforts to strengthen animal protection laws gained momentum. The authorities brought charges of animal cruelty against the man, ensuring he would never harm another animal again. With Thor's safety secured, Emily's family could finally breathe easy. That evening, Emily sat on the veranda with Thor by her side. She gently stroked his fur and looked into his eyes. "You're not just my dog," she said softly. "You're my family." Thor wagged his tail and licked her hand, his eyes full of trust and love. For Emily and Thor, it was the beginning of a new chapter. A life filled with hope, love, and the unbreakable bond they shared. Together, they faced the world, knowing that no challenge was too great when they had each other.